Cinderella, a tale of kindness and magic. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind-hearted young girl named Cinderella. She was the only daughter of a wealthy merchant who adored her deeply. Sadly, her mother passed away when Cinderella was just a child. Some years later, her father remarried, hoping to bring happiness back into the stepmother, however, was a cold and cruel woman with two daughters of her own. Unlike Cinderella, who was gentle and loving, her stepsisters were selfish and vain. Shortly after her father's untimely death, the true nature of her stepmother and stepsisters was revealed. They treated Cinderella as a servant, forcing her to do all the cooking, cleaning, and chores. Yet, despite their cruelty, Cinderella remained kind, holding on to the memory of her father's love and the goodness he had instilled in her. Cinderella spent her days working tirelessly, her only companions being the birds and mice who lived around her home. She would sing to them, and they, in return, would help her with her chores, bringing moments of joy to her otherwise harsh life. One day, an announcement came from the palace. The king and queen were hosting a grand ball in honor of their son, the prince. Every eligible young woman in the kingdom was invited, for the royal couple hoped the prince would find a bride. Cinderella's heart soared with excitement. She dreamed of wearing a beautiful gown and dancing at the palace. But her stepmother and stepsisters had other plans. They mocked Cinderella's wish to attend, saying she was too lowly to be seen at such a grand event. Instead, they made her work endlessly on their dresses, ensuring she had no time to prepare for herself. On the evening of the ball, as her stepmother and stepsisters departed in their finery, Cinderella sat by the hearth, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her dreams seemed as distant as the stars in the sky. As Cinderella wept, a soft, glowing light filled the room. When she looked up, she saw a kind and radiant woman standing before her. "Don't cry, dear child," said the woman. "I am your fairy godmother, and I am here to help you." With a wave of her wand, the fairy godmother transformed a pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into elegant horses, and a lizard into a stately coachman. Then, with another flick of her wand, she turned Cinderella's tattered dress into a magnificent gown, shimmering with silver and gold. On her feet appeared delicate glass slippers that sparkled like diamonds. "Now you can attend the ball," said the fairy godmother. "But remember, the magic will only last until midnight. At the stroke of 12, everything will return to its original form." Cinderella arrived at the palace, her heart pounding with excitement and nerves. As she entered the grand hall, every eye turned to her, captivated by her beauty and grace. Even her stepsisters, who did not recognize her, were struck with envy. The prince, too, was enchanted. He approached Cinderella and asked her to dance. The two glided across the floor, lost in each other's eyes. For the first time in her life, Cinderella felt truly seen and cherished. As the evening went on, Cinderella and the prince talked and laughed, but just as the clock began to strike midnight, she remembered the fairy godmother's warning. Panicked, she fled the palace, leaving the prince bewildered. In her haste, one of her glass slippers slipped off, but she had no time to retrieve it. The next day, the prince was determined to find the girl who had captured his heart. He issued a decree that he would marry the woman whose foot fit the glass slipper. The royal messengers went from house to house, trying the slipper on every maiden. When they arrived at Cinderella's home, her stepsisters eagerly tried to squeeze their feet into the tiny shoe, but it was no use. The slipper didn't fit. Just as the messengers were about to leave, Cinderella appeared. Despite her stepmother's protests, she was allowed to try on the slipper. To everyone's astonishment, it fit perfectly. Cinderella then revealed the other slipper, proving she was a mysterious girl from the ball. The prince, overjoyed, came to Cinderella's side and declared his love. Soon after, they were married in a grand ceremony. Cinderella forgave her stepmother and stepsisters, showing the same kindness she had always lived by. Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after, ruling the kingdom with wisdom and compassion. Her story became a reminder that no matter how dark the days, kindness, courage, and hope could light the way to a brighter future. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more kids' bedtime stories.